So I'm going to give you guys my thoughts on Kevin Samuels' recent interview with Nicki Minaj. Okay, now if you guys don't know who Kevin Samuels is, you must be a little under a rock and not really up to tune what's going on YouTube and Black YouTube, but very well-known and prominent relationship expert, well over 1 million subscribers on YouTube, Mr. Kevin Samuels. Very happy for him and his success. I don't agree, obviously, with everything that man be talking about, but he has a lot of substance and he's making a huge impact on the Black community. Side note, Bitcoin is over 40K. If you were to watch my video from earlier this week, you definitely will be up some hundos. But nonetheless, and everybody pretty much knows who Nicki Minaj is, right? When you think of her, she does have some good music, but Nicki Minaj is more so known for shaking them assets and having that asset. And that's basically what a lot of us know her for. But she is also talented as well. So everyone, again, is entitled to their own opinion on the matter. I'm just going to give you guys mine based on what I saw. And I will summarize this as quick as possible here. So I was thoroughly disappointed in the lack of masculinity that I saw on display from Mr. Samuels. Okay. Now, he got caught off guard because Nicki Minaj really came in there. She really came in there to have, in a sense, to kind of like confront Kevin. And I don't think Kevin really saw it as that because she came in acting like she was gentle and everything else. But she really came in there to bring the hammer and to kind of check him on his platform. So the conversation started with her trying to test him, basically saying, you know, what would you rate me? Like, rate me. Like, I want you to rate me. And he's like, you know what? He's like, nah. He said, you know, usually I have women rate themselves. And now she answered wise in what she responded to him, you know, and he kissed her ass. Even she was surprised. You could tell by the look on her face that she was surprised, you know, by him giving her a rating of 9. But nonetheless, I don't want to delve too deep into that. But then Nicki Minaj got on there to kind of do what she came to do, which was talk to Black women, number one, and number two, talk about Black men. Now, she's talking about Black women on TikTok who are complaining about the Black men who are successful, quote unquote successful, and however you want to quantify that, and then basically brag about the non-Black women that they are getting on TikTok. And she said she was getting sick and tired of it. Now, that's a whole nother conversation. Kevin Samuels tried to bring her back to earth, which is basically saying that, listen, ma'am, in reality, you know, successful Black men want Black wives in the real world. On TikTok, you're being fed information based on an algorithm. Okay, that algorithm know exactly what's going on. They probably reading and hearing everything that you're saying all day long. So they're feeding you information based on what you have previously viewed. It's not a reflection of real life. So you would get this information and be constantly inundated with this information and these negative things that you don't even realize is being fed to you because you keep going to it. That's a whole nother conversation. But nonetheless, he tried to bring her back to reality. She went on a tangent, on a rant, basically saying, you know, hey, Black women, stop worrying about what these guys are doing. Focus on your own success, and then you can go choose the man that you want to be with. Now, different people are going to interpret what she said different ways. But before I even get into that, I do want to get into another thing she said. She said, by the way, and you niggas who out here doing X, Y, and Z, eat a dick. Excuse my language. Y'all forgive me for speaking such ways. Now, the issue I had, and I have to this moment and to this time with that, is for her to go on his platform and speak so recklessly, like to speak like this, to speak like that. Now, you got to ask yourself this question. Do y'all think that Nicki Minaj will go on to any platform run by a non-Black man, especially like, let's say, for example, a white man with 1 million subscribers, and speak like that to a group of that man's subscribers without that man having anything basically to say back to her? This is where I lost respect for Kevin Samuels, because he go on there and allow her to disrespect like that, to speak like this, and to talk to a certain segment of his followers in a particular disrespectful way, as if she don't represent that Jezebel spirit that makes a lot of black men who have their stuff together not want to deal with certain types of black women. See, and that it's so interesting that she said that these black men who are on TikTok are bragging about their non-black women because they've been hurt, so on and so forth. But clearly, she is also speaking from a place of pain because she is offended by what these men are doing. And so therefore, she's lashing out at that group of men in response to the pain that she is feeling. And that is where I was like, man, this is backwards. Like, this is not how this is supposed to be. It's not how it's supposed to go. And interestingly, her comment to me showed what the issue is. See, comment showed what the issue is. The issue is that successful black men, in a lot of instances, don't deal with women like Nicki Minaj, like women who display that type of spirit, that type of attitude. They're not who black men who got their stuff together are really looking for. Black men who got their stuff together, who are in position to protect, provide, etc. Men who want you to be dependent upon them, right? Because that's a huge part of love and relationships. I think people don't really understand is that there is an art to a woman becoming dependent on a man. But I believe that every woman in a relationship with a man should be dependent on that man. And I'm not talking about no damn sex. Unfortunately, that's kind of what people think a lot of times. Like the dependency that a woman should have on a man is way, way, way deeper than sex. And in a lot of instances, I don't even believe it should involve no sex, particularly if you are in the beginning stages of a relationship, particularly if you are a young woman and you are not married or at the very least engaged to a man. See, I could never tell a woman to do something that I would not encourage my own daughter to do. You know what I'm saying? Now, if my daughter, God forbid, but let's say if my daughter or any young woman that I love was already out there, you know what I'm saying? And see, that's the problem, is that a lot of these women is already out there. So they speaking to women and speaking like to a group of women who are already lost, if we just gonna keep this thing 100. But they don't even want to stop for a second and admit that they have fallen off the path, that they are lost. And what I mean by loss is you done been through 1, 2, 3 different broken relationships. You done went out here and fornicated and had all this sex outside of marriage. And so you created this situation for yourself where you are not in an ideal situation. You see, the young girls, the young women, excuse me, who are virgins and have not had their heart broken on multiples of occasions, we can't act like they don't exist. And we cannot also act like they don't have extreme value in our communities. These young girls who I'm talking about do not need to be taking cues from women like Nicki Minaj. It is one of the most dangerous things going on in our community, is that our young, beautiful black girls is taking cues from these women who are lost, who are broken, who are damaged. And then it builds up this skin, this attitude within them to where they think that's how they're supposed to be. And it's automatically putting them at enmity with the group of young men and men, et cetera, that they would be perfect candidates to build up the future of our people and our communities with. But I digress from that, even though that's a very important portion of this. See, so Kevin Samuels, he didn't even get on Nicki Minaj about none of what she said. He didn't have nothing to say to her. I'm not saying he will cuss her out and talk all crazy to her, but he didn't have any type of rebuttal logically or anything like that to her. Why? Because it's Nicki Minaj. His focus is, I got Nicki Minaj on my platform. This woman can come on here basically and say whatever she want to say. So she went up there basically disrespecting him, dissed a portion of his fan group, told niggas, you know what I'm saying, eat a dick, and black lady, level up and go out here and choose the man you want. It's just so destructive what she's doing, in my opinion. And that advice will work for a segment, I believe, a segment of certain black women, but it ain't gonna work for the majority of black women. I'm just gonna keep it 100 with you. Like, what she's ascribing to is more of an attitude that will get you knocked up. Like, what I mean by knocked up is like you will attract men because, as she said, when you walk in the room, your vibe, your aura, etc. So yeah, you will attract men, but the same men that you are attracting, a lot of them, like majority of them, are really want you just for sexual exploitation. And then after that whole situation is over with and you have to deal with this person on a deeper level, what do you bring to the table? Like, what happens after that climactic moment after the sex? When you're in the thick of the relationship, do you have what it takes as a woman to get along consistently with this man? Now, I'm gonna tell y'all right now, a lot of black women gonna find themselves taking cues from her. They're gonna find themselves with straight up losers. They're gonna find themselves in situations with men where they're doing everything. You gotta be the breadwinner, you gotta do everything. And you're gonna be getting very little from the man that you're trying to be with. Why? Because rather than you get with a man who is productive and get on his time and get on his program, you want to be in charge. You may not say it with your mouth that you want to be in charge. In fact, I don't really believe women in general want to be in charge. I don't give a damn what kind of position role a woman got. I think it is in a woman's nature, no matter how high she rise up, that she going to want a man to take control of the situation at the end of the day. But the problem is that only is going to work for it's only a select group of men who even understand that, who can really get on the level to get a woman like that, who is of high power and high stature, and get her to submit to him. Very few men have the ability to do that in a consistent way that's going to work, right? And because that is the case, I'm just keeping it 1,000. Because that is the case, I don't think that that's a mentality that's going to work for the majority of black women. I think it's going to give the majority of black women a false sense of confidence in themselves. And they're going to put themselves on a path of high stress, of high demand, and they're going to be in situations with men where they're not going to be getting along with them. And you're going to be testing your man all the time, all day. Eventually, that nigga going to get tired of your bullshit. And he's going to be ready to get on to a woman who is naturally more submissive, more cooperative, etc. Before I get out of here, I'm going to say this. You know, we keep talking all this bag talk, not this bag talk, but we keep talking all this, you know, pro-female, woman, go do you, be independent, etc. Right? And it's interesting how people try to twist what she said to make it seem like she's talking about personal development and learning how to have emotional and spiritual growth. And she was not talking about that. She didn't steer the conversation in that direction. Okay. And to put context on it, the girl she was chopping it up with, if I understood correctly, is Carmelo Anthony's ex-wife, who is going through a divorce or was recently divorced. And obviously, you know, Nicki Minaj's husband facing 10 years in prison. You got to ask yourself, what married woman going to get on the internet complaining about who black men is dealing with and everything like that? This woman is speaking from a place of pain because she herself is going through pain. It is very apparent that there is some type of situation going on between Nicki Minaj and her husband. Now, I hope they are able to work through their problems. But what I'm saying is this is a woman, if you put the situation in context, who is kind of going through a lot right now and basically speaking from a place of pain in terms of what's going on in her personal life. Okay. So that's not really something that I think a married, happy woman would be worried about or talking about, things like that or of that nature. The other thing about it is this. She mad and complaining about black men on TikTok braggadocious about their non-black women, saying that I feel as though these women or these men is trying to hurt black women, so on and so forth, right? But you have to also understand that there are also black women who do the exact same thing, okay? And this is actually very common on the internet. You see it all over YouTube. It's actually, there's actually a market for that. It's being promoted all over the media, all over TV. You know what I'm saying? So if you're going to get on one group, you got to be able to get on both of them. But I think the media plays a huge role. I already talked about the algorithms and the way that they're trying to spread propaganda to divide black people. That's what this really is. I'm chopping it up with y'all for real. That's what's really going on behind the scenes. They're trying to profit off of division and weakness amongst black people. And that's really what's going on. Now, the last absolute thing I'm going to say is this. You know, I read studies that showed that when women are the primary breadwinners, marital dissatisfaction increases on average. Not saying that's what happens in every instance, but if you do the research, you will find that when a woman is the breadwinner in the household, it leads to marital dissatisfaction, increased risk of a man cheating on his wife, increased risk of divorce, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. Now, I'm not saying that a woman who is making more money or have a career cannot be in a happy, successful, long-lasting relationship. I'm trying to explain to y'all that men have certain natural roles that they are designed to play. So as a woman, especially in this modern world, you have to be careful that your career is not in a way, belittling your man. The way that Nicki Minaj emasculated Kevin Samuels, right, is probably the same way that she emasculates her husband. That's probably just her routine. She went right up there and said, oh, I'm like a man. And then she alluded it and drew it back to sex. But I guarantee that she's been said that she's masculine and like a man in more instances than just sexual. It ain't just sex where you like, oh, because you want to climax every time that makes you like a man. That's not masculine. That's not even what she was really talking about when she said that. She just took it that direction because that's like something that she's probably comfortable talking about and kind of like just speaking. But Kevin Samuels, she didn't peel that onion back to get to the real layers of that. Now, there's a whole nother conversation about are Black women more masculine, et cetera, et cetera. I don't think it's that. I think in my mind, I'm going to say this, I'm out of here for real. I think in my mind that there's a lot of women, a lot of Black women who can be rebellious, bro. They're not used to male authority. And sometimes, you know, obviously a lot of Black women haven't had that modeled for them growing up. They're not used to seeing their mother dependent on a Black man. They're used to seeing their mother dependent on herself and maybe on Uncle Sam, the government giving her food stamps, et cetera, right? They're not used to seeing their mothers or their aunties, you know what I'm saying, dependent upon a man. Because I can tell y'all right now, when I think of all the Black women, like the majority of the Black women that I know who are married in happy, functional relationships, i.e. marriages, who are carefree, doing their thing, laid and slayed. I'm talking about women who are doing great. They're great people to talk to. They have great energy about them, right? All of these women, you could tell right off the top, they are submissive helpmeets to their husband. The man is the primary breadwinner. He is out here. You could tell he is the leader of that relationship. She is like, not like the follower, but she is the helpmeet. I guess it's a good way of putting that. You could tell, you could just tell by the dynamic of their relationship. And I feel that a woman should always seek to fall under the protection of a man, a certain type of man. And it ain't got nothing to do with the amount of money he's making. It's more about his vision. It's more about his principles and the things that make him who he is. Okay. Very important. And when a woman, like successful woman is getting in an environment like that in the context of a relationship, it's not her going out here and talking about she gonna choose the man she want to be with. And she got like this power grab, this power struggle. Family, those be the women who be miserable. Let's keep it 1,000. Like those career minded, power play, power, whatever women, like a lot of times those be the most miserable women that you'll ever talk to for real, in real life. Because people can portray whatever they want to portray on the internet, on TV, whatever, when they're talking to you. But really what's going on inside that person, you don't know. You really don't know that person, if they're happy or what's going on with them in real life. You know what I'm saying? So I can only speak on personal experience. The women that I know who seem very content, very happy, you know what I'm saying? Very much so. Women, I'm talking about, and walking in their femininity for real, those are the married women who are dependent upon their husbands. And that dependency is not just based on money. And the men who they are dependent on, a lot of these brothers don't even have that much money. These brothers got regular jobs, but they are great leaders. That's the whole point. They are leaders. They are under, I'm talking about a higher power for real. And they subject themselves to that. They subject themselves to other men, because that's how things work. People who are in order get in order. You feel what I'm saying? People who are ordered attract ordered people. So men who are in order, meaning the head of Christ is who? According to the word, the head of Christ is God. The head of man is Christ. The head of woman is man. You see what I'm saying? That's the order. That's the hierarchy of authority. And when you find men who are under that hierarchy of authority, they're going to attract women who also want to be under authority. But when you got people all out of order, doing all this lewd, crazy stuff, twerking, popping that thing, doing all this other crazy mess, selling out, having no integrity, y'all find yourselves out of order. So therefore, you're going to attract dysfunctional people who probably going to bring your life down. Okay. So hey, I'm keeping it 1,000. Okay. Hey, but anyways, this is my comments, my review on that situation with Nicki Minaj, man. I wish her the best. Again, I'm not saying what she's doing can't work for you. But what we have to look at and what we have to establish and what I'm all about is first establishing a healthy norm. Then we can get to the outliners later. But right now, we got to focus on a healthy norm, a healthy standard, and we got to protect the innocent. Okay. and then we're going to deal with everybody else. We got to give priority where it matters and stop trying to glorify this dysfunction, because that's what's going on in the Black community. It's been going on for far too long. We got too much emphasis, too much focus on dysfunctional people, on dysfunction in general. And we acting like the innocent, normal, average person means nothing in the Black community, when in fact, these are the ones who need the most guidance, who need the most attention. We need to focus on them because they are our future and the best hope thereof. Like, share, subscribe, comment below. Tell me what y'all think on this topic of discussion. Till we chat again, it's Urban Politics, and I'm checking out.